Hey, this is Gertrude from Digital Artwork by Gertrude Goené. Today we are doing a composite image with a backdrop from SLpixa Digital. The link to our Etsy shop is in the description box below. Don't forget to follow my Instagram, Facebook page and YouTube channel. This is the backdrop that we are going to use. And I kind of really like it. I like the nautical things on it. And we are gonna put a baby in it, of course. And I'm just gonna open it and go to the image that we have pre-selected. This one, open, and it already shows everything I did. Well, not everything. I'm lowering the tint so it's not, the baby is not too orange. I don't change the temperature because I know my camera does it pretty well. And nothing else either, because I'll be pretty much doing everything in the photo shop. I am, however, going to, it's already opted in, remove chromatic aberration, because you can see over here like a bluish, and sometimes on the other side of a subject you can get some red. That's a disalignment of the color, and this changes that and fix it, as you can see. And that's pretty important because it just make it even more sharper. And I changed the I opt in the profile correction. Both of them, I'm not looking if I want it or not. Like right now I showed you the differences, but usually they're just opted in. And then I just open it. And we are going to select the model with the quick selection tool. It's pretty easy, you just drag it, and right now it's pretty easy. It's not always as easy peasy as normal. Right now I'm working on my MacBook with a mouse pad and a mouse, and I kind of use them both because both they got their advantages. And to make it a minus, to deselect, I use the option tool on my Mac, or you use the Alt key, and then you can just select what you want. I kind of use a small brush because I like to be in detail, because if I start big, then it's just, I have to change the size of the brush all the time. And as you can see, if you drag it over a surface, it's usually because you drag it all at once, it just recognizes it as one big mess, so that it should all be there. And that saves time, and time is money. We all know that one. I'm currently not using a pen tablet because the last one and we split up. We decided we couldn't work together anymore. I updated to the Mac, and he thought that I was cheating on him. And he broke up with me. He just didn't work anymore. He just said, nope, do it yourself. So I'm currently waiting for my new pen tool. So as we speak, I'm just working a bit old-fashioned with the mouse and the mouse pad. Well, while I was chatting, I think I pretty much got it. It's better to get too much than too few, because otherwise you get gaps in the baby, and that's worse. you can't re-get it. And then right click mouse, layer via copy, and then right click mouse, duplicate layer, and we go to the image. Let's see, well, there it is. Command T or Control T, and then we lower it. Oh, wait, yeah, just didn't want as I wanted it to go yet. Like that, I think. It's pretty nice. It's just, we're gonna get there. I do like to see the total image so I can see how the shades were playing out. And I can see that it's crooked, so I kind of have to see. That looks better. Didn't like it too much, sorry. English is not my first language. I am worried a little bit because it doesn't have something hanging over, so it kind of feels like he's just laying on the hard edge. So I'm just gonna see if I can just put it a little bit on top, that he's not totally touching it. And then we are going to get a layer mask. We are zooming in because it didn't do that much of a good job in selecting it. 20, yep, at about 33%. And the opacity at 100. And this is where I use mostly my trackpad, my mouse pad, because it just works a lot easier. And I'm just going to get the edges. Of course, the watermark won't be in it for your art, for your digital backdrop. This is only as a safety precaution. I'm not letting it drop over the baby. For me, it's not too bad, but the backdrop needs to be protected. I used a kind of a soft edge because we kind of like softness. And this is just a tedious work, kinda. You don't like it when it's not matching that good right away. Sometimes it does. It's like, ooh, that's good. But sometimes you just don't want to. Mostly when it's soft on the edges, it doesn't want to get too cut out too good, because it's just leaving some. That's why I used a soft brush, because we need soft edges, most of them. This right now I'm just leaving. Maybe we need to cut it out, but maybe not. Maybe it's just gonna blend in. And I want to fix the color of the head to match the scene. But first things first, this we got done. And I leave all my layers, just leave them, you know. And it's pretty easy to leave them. And for softening the skin, I am cheating and I use the portraiture, and we need to click on the layer and go to Imagenomic, I can't spell it, horrible, and then Portraiture 3. Well, I have it all set up as I want it, so I can click OK. I bought it about 10 years ago, I think, for about $100. Was a lot of money, and I did do the tryout first, but I ended up buying it because I love it. You can see it's just smooth and it's sharp where it needs to be. Of course, there are a little bit of things that we are gonna fix in a minute, but most of it is just nice and smooth and not too smooth. So I'm just gonna fix those little things up with, for me, I use the patch tool. You can do it a million ways, but I do it this way. It's easier. My patch tool isn't working as quick as I'm used to, or at least as I'm used to lately. So I have to, oh. Those highlights, those highlights in the nose I will be fixing as well. Sometimes I like highlights, but they need to be not too obvious and in the right place, of course. Well, he has a lot of color and everything in his face. I think this is from his little pacifier, and I'm missing here some. I'm so used to it being way faster. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, we got some redness here. We are gonna fix up here some redness. And in the eyes, that we will be fixing up. And I do use actions for those. My videos aren't without any actions, well, actually, presets I do not use, but actions I do. And at this point, it's mostly from, let me see, little pieces. And I just love working with them. And I got a lot of other stuff, but mostly I use little pieces. The workflow, can we see it? Workflow actions. I don't think they sell it anymore. I think they stopped selling it as a package, but I'm not sure. You need to ask Kelly Brown about it. So we are going to use the first one, and that is Lighten Red Skin. It says what it needs to be doing, what you need to do, and so that's pretty easy. I'm just checking quickly. Usually I do 100%. I'm doing it anyway. The color needs to be on white. You can use this arrow to change it, or you use the X on the keyboard. I'm all for using short keys, and I kind of like that. He has still a lot of red in him. I can just see it going. I don't like the overly fixed up, like no red, no color changes at all type of images. I'm just doing this once, and I do think that I might do this one a little extra, but it's just sometimes some areas just need to have a little bit of red, extra red in some areas. So I'm just going to go with that. I really hope it's gonna go and blend better, because it feels like it's not blending. Maybe it is because of the, oh, we'll see about that. It just doesn't look too good like right now, it's just way too pasted on it, like over here and stuff. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do about that. It might be because I have a very soft image and this is a very sharp image. So we might have to level that more, that it's more compatible with each other, but it might be difficult. So I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do anything about that at the moment. And it might be when the shadows are in. And we're speaking of that, so I'm doing that right away. Maybe it works nicer. You make a new layer, or at least that's what I do, and you get a kind of a big brush, yes, and the softness totally soft, opacity about 17. I was in the middle of something else. I'm just thinking about the color of the boy, but we'll do that in a minute. And then I make sure with the X mark that we're going to get the right color, and then we're just going to fix it a bit. And I hope it's gonna make it look a little bit better and make it look like it's at least more supposed to be. As you can see, I'm still working with a old-fashioned way. I started doing working with Photoshop in, I think, about the 2006. So that's about, how long ago? 12 years? I know Photoshop CS was out, so that was a long time ago. I know why it's not blending, because this is a high contrast image and this isn't yet. So we're gonna fix that up in a bit. But let me just finish this. Well, actually it's okay as it is. We're just doing those final touches later, because all the actions from Kelly are based on a one layer principle, and this one does it without having to have one layer, but the next one that I'll be using, or should use, is Correct Blues for the skin to make it more yellow, more orangey. And though that one really, it just gets it all in one piece, so it needs to have it all in one piece, so we're not using that. First I'm starting with, I'm actually gonna clip it on. I use the clipping mask, and you can use this one, or you can go with the right click mouse and go to well, in this case release, and then create clipping mask, because right now I want to do a lot of things on just the baby, so I like to have it all clipped. And when I use it now, because I have the baby layer on and I have already clipping mask above it, every adjustment layer I make now, it's automatically clipped as well. That's again something quickly that you just save a couple of seconds per image that you use. And I kind of want to have some more contrast. Let me see how far I can go. Actually, I can go pretty far. Let me just wait. Let me snap an image so I can check it. Oh, I need to snap the second one as well, so I can check how it goes. That looks a lot better, see, already. And I do want to, I'm gonna dodge and burn a little bit to help it blend more. With this image it's needed. It's not always with every image needed. To dodge and burn, you can either use those or you use it this way, and that's my way, or one of the ways. And I kind of like it. This way it just does it on the same layer and you don't want it. And this way you can always go back and alter it. This one is going to be dodge. And we're going to highlight it. And then I go to the mask option and say invert. Actually, invert. And then we are going to make a new one. And we're going to do that a bunch lower. And I'm kind of right away looking how I might want to have the shadows underneath here. So I'm just mixing them, matching them up right away. And of course we are inverting that as well. Now that one is, oh, burn. I used to say them totally different. I thought it was dodge darkness and burn brightness, but it's vice versa. So it doesn't really matter. And then you use the brush tool. And I kind of like to have it on, well, at this point it really differs. We are gonna have to switch it up a bit, but I think I'm gonna go start big and then go slowly smaller. Opacity about 10, and then I'm just, it's clipped, so I'm not afraid of getting the bucket, because I don't want it right now on the buckets. And make sure that it's on white. And you just go a lot of times. Well, you can kind of put the opacity up a little bit. It goes a bit quicker. And this is just a trial and error kind of thing. And then we go a little bit smaller. Kind of like it that. Well, actually no, it's too much blue in there. We're gonna do that with something else. I don't want to accentuate this shadow more because, well, I might do the lips a bit. And underneath here, well, needs to go down again. Don't want it too sharp. Sometimes you can just alter it all. It's mostly about getting the right shadows over here. It is my style to get it a little bit high on contrast, and I usually do it this way because I kind of like it this way. And I'm seeing right here a little bit of the non-shadow, and I kind of right away want to fix it because I'm on black anyway. So usually I do that because otherwise I forget about it. And that's not smart if you forget about it. Oh, it's actually kind of low. Oh, that's high. But I do need a little bit of that edge. That contact shadow, as I call it. The shadow that actually hits something. And I am going to have to fix that. like that. Let me just fix this right away because it just bugs me, and otherwise I might forget it. 5, I think. Oh, and then we need it on black, and I needed this. It's just mostly learning what works and getting your workflow going. Okay, then we're gonna go back to the dodge and burn. Actually to the dodge, I think. And we are getting the bigger parts. I don't think we need to do the highlights because I gonna kind of have it okay already. I do want to have something lighter, and maybe the eyes a little bit, not too much because we like shadows. And over here, just getting it a little bit lighter. Just a little bit. And the difference and the difference. So this versus this. It's just a little bit nicer. It's still not totally matching, and I hate that because it's kind of obvious that it's not supposed to be in the buckets. And there's, I think, about one way to do that. And that is duplicate layer. And then we are doing, having the top layer, and we go to blur, Gaussian blur. And I think this is about, it. Okay. Of course, this looks like hell. And we are putting a layer mask on it, and we're inverting it. And then we can just kind of paint it in as we go with a low opacity. And I think it's because the backdrop is maybe a tiny bit off. And I do think, see, let me just try. I'm sorry, when I'm thinking, I'm just usually start talking softer. I'll try not to do that. I want to see what it does. Well, actually I can just go behind him because we got it on a different layer. And I do want the boat a little bit out of focus as well. We need to watch out that the knot is not done, because the knot is on the right path of, or at least almost on the right path of the sharpness, so it can be a little bit. This way I kind of like doing it because I can make sure that it has a little bit of softness and blur, or it has a lot, and that makes it kind of very easy to work with. I do like this a little blur as well because it's just kind of harsh. And the depth of field, because field of depth, I think, I don't know. The lens was about the aperture. So hello, the aperture was about 2.8 on my image. So it's not totally matching with this backdrop. I think this one is best on 4.0. But as you can see, we can just fix it up a bit. And I think I am going to soften this line also. So I go to the model and then I make sure I have the layer mask. And then I use a very small, very soft brush. I do want it on 100%. Oh, it needs to be on X. I think this way it's just gonna help as well. And then we just slowly get it to a softer position. Because it was, see, it's blending better this way. We do get something of the image, but that's okay. As you can see, this is just a lot of work, but this way it kind of blends better. It makes that depth of field better. Sometimes you have hard lines and sometimes you just have soft lines. And because over here we got hard lines, we're not working on that, but over here it doesn't look too good again. And then we just go and get some softness in there again. See, that's way better. And then we're getting to that part that it's kind of sharp, so we're not doing too much about it. I'm just looking if it works. It's not working over here, although I do like to get something like that. And over here it needs to get softer. As you can see, you just gotta try it out. Sometimes it just gets too close or not close enough. Let's see, that's a lot better already. See? I think when we color the head, it's gonna be better as well. I'm still bugging about this. I'm just gonna go and get the hardness a little more and the brush itself softer and see what I can do over here. I think that's a bit better. It does have some softness. It's already a lot better. We're gonna color the head. We are going to color the heads. Again, we got it on the model and I do it this way. It's maybe not the best or the easiest, but it's my way. Selective color, and then I use, I think, the cyans. And then we're just going, oh, that way. And that's gonna have to stay. And then that way. It doesn't have to be the dark blue. Get the dark blue. Oh, like that. See, it's for me it's easy because I'm not having any other blue stuff in it in my model, so it's no problem. If it would be, then we would start painting with a brush, and then you probably would get it on a high one and opacity at 100, and then you would just go and get all that off, as you can see over here. So you just erase where it needs to be, or do it vice versa and invert it and just paint in what you want. Depends on what is quicker for you, but we didn't need to do that, but I wanted to show you anyway. And this is the image. I kind of like to resize it for my own wantings. 2, 3. And see, it's, I like my my ratios on 2.3, and that's a lot better for me. But it's nice that you have some kind of an option. And although I do think it could be a little bit better with everything, I'm just not submitting you guys to a 4-hour video because that won't work. This is bugging me, and we are going to fix that. Again, I use the patch tool, and I'm making sure that this thing, as you can see, the head will keep aligning, and then you can just go. And now I just keep seeing things that bug me, of course. When you, well, I usually work maybe, depends, maybe 2 hours maximum on one image, but I kind of like to do it less. And because my workflow is kind of quickly, because with you talking to you guys and explaining it to you, this only took about we're in the 36th minute, so it usually kind of goes quickly. And because I have my kind of a workflow, even though it's all over the place, but I do know, and I don't even have a checklist next to me. I should have, because sometimes when it's not my day, I forget. But right now I'm not, and this, I think it looks okay. This is how you do it, and I love this backdrop. It's kind of nice that it's sharp, that you can choose yourself. That way you can just manipulate it as you like it, or as it matches the model or the baby, the client, whatever you want to call it. At this point, this was a model for me, so it was. I'm just going to flatten the image, and I'm going to do one last thing, and that is correct the blues. And I'm going to brush in. See, that's just going to make it so it's not totally, so it's a little bit more orange, more warm. I do it on 100%, and I do need to watch over here as it goes. Right now I'm just gonna look if I really see I went too far and not far enough over here. Ah, it's on a heart. Well, actually it's okay being on a heart. I just need to refine the edges. As we go. Oh yeah, so. Oh, well, sometimes I'm just pressing the wrong buttons. It happens. Oh. This is just a tedious work, and I'm doubting if it is too warm. I don't know, but if it would be, then you can just change the opacity. But I do think it's around 50 is nice, because there's a lot of warmth in the image, although it's blue and brown. So, but that matches pretty good. And just going to get it off there. Well, that's it. And this is the digital backdrop and the image. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.